Hello and welcome to Total Packers with Matt LaFleur, presented by Software One. Larry McCarren along with the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. And Matt, bottom line, the Lions game, not good, right?
No, it was not good. Anytime you're going into halftime down 27-3, that's usually not a good recipe for winning football. And we didn't perform well. We didn't come out, we didn't execute well enough. But I thought that our team played hard, competed for 4 quarters, made it a game there. In the 4th quarter, just ran out of gas.
Matt, are any particular parts of it going to linger with you for a while?
I sure as heck hope not. This league is all about moving on to the next. Whether you win, whether you lose, you got to look at the film critically. You got to make adjustments. You got to learn from it, and hopefully we don't put ourselves in a position like that moving forward.
I wanted to ask you specifically on that because you set the tone for everybody. How do you move on? What's your process like? Do you have to see the film, talk to the guys, and then you feel, okay, now we can move on? How does that work?
Yeah, I think that's the first step is you come in, you grade the film, you meet as a staff, you present it to the team, you have your individual meetings with each individual position group, and you try to make the necessary adjustments and get some of the questions answered that maybe you don't have the answers to until you talk to the fellas. But you're always looking at everything, whether you win or whether you lose, and you got to try to make the necessary adjustments.
Matt, you really couldn't win on either side of the line of scrimmage. And when you can't win there, you can't win, period, right?
I think the disparity in rushing yards was, over 200 yards or whatever it was. But that's where football starts. It starts up front, as you know. And if you have a hard time blocking or a hard time, disrupting the other team's offense, usually aren't going to come out on top.
Matt, when you have a game wrecker or a creature on the other side, like an Aiden Hutchinson, do you cut the guys any slack, the guys going against them, when it comes to expectations on what they're going to get done?
I would say no, but we're also realistic about it, and we always got to look critically at what we're asking our guys to do. And when we have opportunities to maybe in the passing game slide a protection to a guy like that, you want to take advantage of that. And there were a couple instances where we didn't, and so we got to reevaluate in terms of why didn't that happen, and again make those adjustments.
At the end of the day, do you look at a game like that and say the problem was us or the problem was them, the guys, the competition we were going against?
Well, I think you're always looking internally at yourself and what you can control, what you can do better. And unfortunately, they outcoached us and outplayed us.
Matt, it's a 27-3 game at halftime. By the second play of the 4th quarter, it's a 10-point game. Do you take any solace in that? That's kind of remarkable.
Yeah, I think that speaks to that our guys continue to compete, and that's what we ask them to do every time we go out on the field is don't worry about the scoreboard, just keep fighting, keep competing, because I do believe that we got the right type of team, the right type of players where it's going to end up in our favor if we have that mindset. And unfortunately, just didn't make enough plays down the stretch.
As of late, Jordan's done some really nice things, not only with his arm, but with his feet. Does what he's done with his feet kind of tempt you to do even more with his feet?
I think every game's a little bit different in terms of what we ask him to do, and certainly that was a premier look for the quarterback draw, and he executed. The line did a good job blocking for him. And we used them in a couple option plays. Some were good and some were not so good. So I think it's going to be something that we'll evaluate on a weekly basis.
This was the first time he really faced consistent, intense pressure. How do you think he handled it?
I actually thought he got better as the game went on, which is kind of a rarity because usually when a quarterback's consistently getting hit or pressured, they can get a little skittish in the pocket. And I was really proud of the fact that he stayed in there. He was delivering some very tough passes in the face of pressure and did a nice job.
Matt, you're roughly at the quarter mark of the season. What do you know about your team? What is yet to be determined?
Well, the reality is we're 2-2, and I know it doesn't feel like that when you're coming off a loss. The most recent game always kind of sticks with you a little bit longer. But I know that we have a really resilient football team, and that's something that we can be proud of. We just got to make sure that we're continuing to learn and grow and get better and better and better, and to me it starts in practice.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up, Packers kicker, Anders Carlson. Don't go away.
I like a busy game where I'm kicking field goals and trying to, keep us in the ball game or give us that lead. It kind of fires me up to be a bigger part of that game.
Kick to the upright, and it is good! Yeah.
Total Packers with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by your local Chevy dealers, by Bellin Health, and by Johnsonville. Welcome back. This one-on-one is brought to you by Brew Pub, lots of matzo pizza. Anders, let me get this straight. You are 5 of 5 on field goals. You're 9 of 9 on extra points. And on your kickoffs, the average drive start for your opponents is number 1 in the league. Do you feel like you're off to a pretty good start? It sounds that way.
What fires me up the most is that last one, the drive starts, because that's what we fence and us specialists are all about, is setting up the defense and putting points on the board for the offense. So being, number 1 in the league, that's something we definitely want to carry out the rest of the season.
No question. Disappointing loss to the Lions. But you guys are 2-2. And there is a lot of football left to be played for this young football team. What's important now?
For us, it's just finding the mistakes and fixing them, right? When the momentum's in our favor, we're a scary team to play against. But, for us, and for me personally, just finding the one thing I can get better at and just is correcting those things as soon as we get to Vegas. And like you said, we got a lot of football to play, so we got a lot to learn from, but we got a lot of games to go.
You've got the unenviable task of replacing the legendary Mason Crosby. But because you followed your brother Daniel, who's an all-pro kicker for the Raiders, does it make replacing a legend like Mason a little easier? You kind of know the territory?
I definitely, when I got to college there at Auburn, was under a shadow of my brother. I was called Daniel for a long time before people actually knew my name. So, coming here, kind of same thing, just a legendary kicker like you said. And for me, it was all about just kind of generating my own name and just focus on myself day by day and just focused on what I can do better every day.
The Monday Nighter that's coming up in Las Vegas, have you and your brother kind of worked out the logistics of that, or how will you handle pregame?
We're brothers, so we're competitive. We might have to fight during pregame. Maybe see who
when you were growing up, did you kind of get into it from time to time?
Yeah, so there's 3 brothers. I'm the youngest, Daniel's the middle one, and so, I was always picked on. My older brother stuck up for me sometimes, but Daniel was always the bully, so maybe it's my time to get a little a comeback to him.
Here's the snap, placement made, kick by Carlson to the upright. Is it enough?
Yeah!
It is good! Anders Carlson from 57 yards!
Nice job, young man. Nice job. How is kicking at Lambeau Field, or is it too early really to know? Because I've heard, never done it myself, but I've heard it can be kind of tough.
People are shocked that I don't practice there during the week. Just going in there and figuring out what's happening that day and then trusting it. I think, as it gets colder and stuff, there'll be, the ball's not going to fly as far maybe, but that's just the reality of football in the fall. So,
what's it like being a specialist coached by Rich Bisaccia?
It's fun to come to work, I'll tell you that. You don't know what you're going to get from him every day.
No, you can see why I asked you, right?
Yeah. No, he's very consistent, but it could be a good day or a bad day, and the flip of a switch, and it makes it fun. He takes a lot of pride in his work, so the guys buy in a lot. So that's what gets me so excited is, we fence, everyone's bought in. Everyone wants to make that tackle and make a difference.
Your offense has the football and they're driving down the field. Do you find yourself hoping to get another first down, or do you find yourself hoping, I hope it stops because I want to kick?
For different reasons, I like both. Obviously, I like when we score touchdowns, right? Because it means good things are going well. Hopefully we score a lot of those and I kick, 5 or 6 extra points every game and the results go the way we want to. But I like a busy game where I'm kicking field goals and trying to keep us in the ball game or give us that lead. It kind of fires me up to be a bigger part of that game. So I'm good either way as long as I'm kicking.
Welcome back. This week's Chalk Talk is brought to you by Network Health. Truth be told, even in defeat, there's good plays and good players. Let's take a look. There's a play called the crack toss, and you cannot run it any better than this. We'll start with the crack part. Christian Watson right here and Jaden Reed right there. And then as the play turns the corner, we have Rasheed Walker looking for somebody to hit, and he finds somebody and puts them on the ground. Then downfield, Josiah DeGuara getting in position right here, and Royce Newman finishing a block to the inside. And then talk about Lions on the ground. We have 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here. And now for a moment, focus in on number 3. Look at Josh Myers. Just splatter this dude. And he splatters him not once, but twice. Aaron Jones, excellent vision, good cut. He goes 9 yards and then tack on the personal foul penalty. Big play in the middle of a touchdown drive. Packer defense now, and the Lions are running a play action pass at them. So let's break it down. The Packers have 1, 2, 3 guys available to rush the passer. The Lions have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys available to block. And their offensive line is one of the best in the business. How will the Packers get home? They'll get home with teamwork. Watch TJ Slayton. He more or less picks the blocker off of Carl Brooks. You see it right there? He picks him off, and here comes Brooks running free. Now, meanwhile, Lucas Van Ness, Hercules, is taking 2 Lions and absolutely destroying them. That's 628 pounds he is knocking around, and it just serves as another pick for Brooks. Brooks comes around totally free and sacks Jared Goff. We have seen teamwork, we've seen execution, and now the key becomes consistency.
That's football, man. There's ebbs and flows, as the coaches say, and it's just what makes a great team is how you play through that. So again, that's the sport we play in. Everything's not perfect. As I said earlier, it's an imperfect game. It's just how you continue to push, and who's got the stronger will at the end of the day.
Total Packers with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by Network Health, by your Wisconsin Toyota dealers, and by Software One, redefining how companies build, buy, and manage everything in the cloud. Welcome back to Total Packers with Matt LaFleur. Top Performers is brought to you by Spectrum. Welcome back. Time to talk about some top performers, guys who played winning football even in a losing effort. And Matt, if we could, let's begin with Romeo Doubs. I mean, he put up some numbers, 9 catches, 95 yards. And when he walks around, I think I'm looking at a salty old veteran.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He's been really consistent, always makes the tough catches, and he put in another good performance.
How about Samori Toure? Just 1 catch, but it was a beauty. It was a beauty.
Was. That was encouraging to see because that's something we haven't seen from him in terms of making that contested catch over top of defender. And Samori's really, he's a very versatile player. He can play a lot of positions. And I love how he uses his speed to really stretch the defense.
Speaking of which, Quay Walker, 19 tackles. 19 tackles. He's got to be doing something right.
Yeah, he was all over the field. And he's getting better and better and better. He kind of is just learning as a young player, and we're really excited where his game is developing to.
Also, safety Rudy Ford, he had an interception, and he also, in the last few games, couple games, he seems to be leading, bringing a steadying presence to the back end, and he seems to be where he needs to be when he needs to be there.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that first interception that he had was huge, and unfortunately we didn't capitalize by scoring a touchdown there, but I think, you know, Rudy's a guy that's made those types of plays in the past, and we expect that moving forward, but he has been a force. You can feel his physical presence from the back end.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up, the last word from the coach. Don't go away. The Packers and Bell & Health are featuring an exclusive hat for Packers versus Cancer. Join the fight today and help the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation. Visit PackersProShop.com. Welcome back. The Last Word with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by Construction Business Group and Wisconsin Operating Engineers. Time for the last word from the coach and Matt. Coming up, a Monday nighter against the Raiders. And I got to be honest, I don't know much about them, but I do know they have a receiver named Davante Adams and a kicker named Daniel Carlson, brother of our kicker, Anders.
Yeah, no, the Raiders have a really good football team, very competitive team. Obviously, guys like Josh Jacobs, we're going to have to keep an eye out on Davante Adams, and then on the other side of the ball, they got one of the best rushers in the league in Max Crosby. So it's going to be a very tough opponent in a primetime atmosphere.
Matt, thank you. Good luck against those Raiders, and thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.